Games that run on the Essence 20 role-playing system, like the Transformers role-playing game, give players and game masters story points to play with. However, the Transformers role-playing game has another resource that can change the face of a scene: Energon Points. What is Energon? In most Transformers media, Energon fuels Cybertronians and their technology. It's the focal point of many battles between Autobots and Decepticons, who need to balance how much Energon they spend in their effort to gain more. Without it, Cybertronians as a species can't move on, and as individuals can't survive. Even though Energon keeps Cybertronians functional, its flexibility in powering equipment and unlocking special abilities means you will need to weigh gains against cost. Fortunately, Energon Points renew in the Transformers role-playing game, so you will have reliable access to your strongest and most flexible abilities. Still, you must spend your Energon Points reliably, or you risk being out when you really need it. As a Cybertronian, you can store a number of Energon Points equal to your lowest Essence score. That means that when you assign your Essence Points during character creation, the more you focus on one high Essence score, the less access to Energon you gain. The exception is the Scientist role, which can store a number of Energon Points equal to your highest Essence score. You'll start most adventures with your full supply of Energon. Every in-game day, you'll regenerate half of your Energon Point capacity. You'll also regenerate one Energon Point at the end of any combat against Cybertronian opponents. On occasion, you'll even find a source that can be converted into Energon, or even a pool of raw Energon. You can siphon from one Energon Point per free action you spend on it, up to the amount of Energon available in the source. Finally, as a standard action, you can spend an Energon Point to regenerate an Energon Point in another character within reach, using Energon Points. Spending an Energon Point allows you to gain one upshift on a skill test, ignore a snag on a skill test, function normally for an additional 1d2 rounds after being reduced to 0 health. Additionally, you can spend Energon Points to activate power perks and summon Energon equipment. Every role in the Transformers role-playing game gains an ability at first level tied to the role's function that costs Energon to activate. Analysts can spend an Energon Point to work the numbers, changing the initiative order. Field commanders can spend an Energon Point on Never Forsaken, which lets them move closer to an ally under fire and take the damage instead of them. Gunners can spend an Energon Point on Impromptu Turret, which lets them use weapons they're holding in bot mode as mounted weapons when they convert to alt mode. Mode Masters can spend an Energon Point on Fully Hybrid, temporarily gaining the best abilities of their bot mode and an alt mode. Scientists can spend an Energon Point on Intrafilm to repair injured allies. Scouts can spend an Energon Point on Disappear to turn invisible for a turn. Finally, warriors can spend an Energon Point on Hardcore, which lets them sacrifice limbs to ignore the effects of attacks. Energon equipment. If you need an armor upgrade, a weapon, or kit in a pinch, you can create it out of Energon. How much it costs depends on how well you could use that item. If you create an armor upgrade or weapon that you are trained or qualified in, or you create a kit that you meet the prerequisites for, it costs 1 Energon Point. Otherwise, it costs 2 Energon. That means you're never defenseless or without options as long as you have Energon Points at your disposal. That concludes our How to Play the Transformers role-playing game video series. Did that answer all of your questions? If not, let us know in the comments below.